there are some benefits to age. One of them is that I have the ability to forget anytime, anything I want. That's why I bring notes. Number two is I can lecture anything I want. And the thing I want to lecture on today is this, and especially the younger people. As you go through life, there are going to be three things that are going to be very important to you. Take my word for it. Number one on the list is your health. Number two is your family. And number three are your friends. You will want to be with them all your life. Having said that, I'm not going to introduce every individual of my family and my friends who are my fellow employees, and I'd like to ask them all to stand. One of the things I was told or asked when I give my presentation to tell you what the college has meant to our community, because I've been involved with the college ever since then. But let me make one point very clear. I do not, under any circumstances, individually, personally take credit for getting the college to come to Marshall. I was merely a member of that committee, and I did the work that I was asked to do and followed through in that respect. I want to mention one thing, a couple of things. There's a man with us today that was a member of that original committee. Ivan Carroll is not college educated, but he's a very bright person with a charismatic personality. He was recognized by Dr. Howard Bellows with this personality and asked by Dr. Bellows to help him in some of the relationships with the legislature back when they were looking for money. And eventually, Ivan and Artis became good personal friends of Dr. Howard and Barbie Bellows. Ivan, I'd like Artis and you to stand, please. Another person, I think Warren Kornstrom. Is Warren here yet? Very good. Warren Kornstrom was a young practicing attorney when he came to Marshall, and he was brought into the college committee, the original college committee, and Warren did a lot of the preliminary work for the college, which included getting the deeds taken care of and other work. Now, he did all of this work pro bono. Now, the attorneys want to use the word pro bono, so they make us poor people look kind of dumb if we don't know what it means. It means free. Warren did this work free. And Howard and Arvella, I'd like to ask you to stand too as part of that original college committee. So anyway, we all worked together, the whole committee. I think there were probably 20 or 25 of us on the committee, and we came to the date of September of 1964 when 509 students walked into the campus here at the university. At the same time, 44 new faculty members came to Marshall, and I'm assuming they might have raised the IQ level of our community several points. We also had 52 jobs for staff personnel. The other thing that we've been very fortunate is that the families of the presidents contributed so much to the sophistication of our community. And I go back and start with Dr. Howard Bellows. Howard Bellows was a true genius, if there ever was one. And I've said it many times, we could have looked all over the world for someone to be the initial president. We would never have found anyone better than Dr. Bellows. Dr. John Weefeld came along just at the right time and literally saved our college. We had Dr. Bob Carruthers, who did the right things at the right time, and unfortunately Dr. Donahar isn't here, but he knew how to build buildings and get the building done. One of the things in athletics that we in the community have appreciated very much is the fact that the college has brought us, and remember, we were a town of 5,900 population before the college came, grew to 14,000 if you include the surrounding area. But all of a sudden now, we were able to go to Saturday afternoon football. We were able to participate in watching many activities within the athletic world. Nothing was more outstanding than that St. Cloud game and 2001. I went to that game, and if you missed it, you missed probably the finest game that you could possibly see, with the exception of just the other week. Our team beat Concordia, and that, I think, was as good a basketball as you could see. And then the next night, sorry about this, Butch, they beat St. Cloud. God, that was exciting. I just loved that. We've been able to watch nationally acclaimed volleyball. We've had many first-class college sporting events. Some of the great athletic directors were, if you can remember, Dr. Bellows, the #1 president, was able to entice a guy by the name of Don Scott from San Jose, California, to come to Marshall, Minnesota. Well, he didn't last very long because he knew getting back to San Jose, California was better weather. But Don Scott set up the athletic program here at the college. Glenn Matke was the next athletic director, and he was the original basketball coach. And Glenn was very instrumental in setting up the Boosters Club. Very, very instrumental. Butch Raymond, they don't come any better. I mean, he's a fantastic, and was a fantastic athletic director. And I want to say to all of us who are still active in athletics as citizens, we don't want to lose Chris Hamilowski. He's as good as they come, too. Now, you get the idea of what I'm talking about. The college has enhanced our lives and our community so tremendously that it's impossible to explain it all. Having said that, I'd like to give you one little short sports story. Has nothing to do with the college, but I think you'll find this interesting. I want to take you back to the 1940s. In the 1940s, every small town and up in my area, we had Alberta and Chicago and Clinton and Graceville and Beardsley, my hometown, and Browns Valley. And our pride at that time was athletics. Everybody followed the teams, and it was really the key to the communities. We were very fortunate in 1943 and 44 to have had a coach by the name of, see, I told you could forget. Doc Haynes, L.K. Lyle Haynes. He came to our community from Valley City Teachers College, and I understand he still holds some records at Valley City. The story is, I don't know if it's true or not, but I tell it anyway, whether it's true. He was working out to become a member of the track team in the 1936 Olympics, but he sprained his ankle and couldn't make it. But he was an outstanding coach. That was 43 and 44. 1945, he left. And our superintendent at the time, by the name of Stahlbaum, and I'll never forget him. As the superintendent, he decided he wasn't going to hire a coach, but he would be the coach of the teams. Now, his first announcement was, I'd like to quit athletics and start a school band. Well, you can imagine how well that went over, and it didn't work. But that takes us then to the spring of 1945, and with the training that we had with our coach, Haynes, we won the sub-district tournament, which took us to Morse and the district tournament. Well, Morse that year had a guy by the name of Dave Scrine. Now, Dave Scrine was one of the outstanding athletes in the state of Minnesota. So our team met before the game, and we decided that if we could hold Scrine to 10 or 12 points, we had a chance to win the game. So we decided we'd play a zone defense. Well, I was a forward, so I was put up front, and my job was to stop Scrine from scoring. Well, that's even funny today. We got to the halftime, and Scrine had already gone beyond the 10 or 12 points. And now we're down in the shower room, and one of the things that our coach did was allowed the good old boys from back home down in the locker room during the halftime. Well, I think they had been drinking a few beers on the way over. But this one guy came up to me and he said, "Jorgensen, you play ball like a man with a paper ass." Well, I knew right then and there I was not going to be an All-American basketball player. But what I was a naive 17-year-old kid. And what I would like to have said, you go guard Scrine, and then we'll see who has a paper ass. We ended the game. Scrine went on to be an outstanding athlete at the University of Minnesota and eventually a coach there. And his nephew, Dr. Gary Scrine, is a medical doctor here in Marshall, Minnesota. Now, I'm going to go back to my friends, and I want to just tell you about my teammates because I don't know what would have happened to any of us if it hadn't been for athletics. We might have been up in St. Cloud for all I know, especially me. But my friends and I stuck together all of our lives. Donald Gower went to Livingston, Montana, and became a successful rancher. Bill Bauer went to New York City, worked for AT&T, and serviced the customers on Manhattan Island for 25 years. Roger Powers became manager of Western Co-op Transport in Montevideo. Roger Rook, a true genius, he had an IQ of 165, became a district attorney in Oregon, and in 1975 was elected president of the National District Attorneys Association. His vice president that year was District Attorney, you see, we forget at age, his district attorney was Patrick Leahy. Patrick Leahy, you better probably know him better as Senator Patrick Leahy from Vermont, and myself. I didn't end up a great athlete. I didn't end up as intelligent as my friend, but I had enough sense to come to Marshall, where the opportunities were just outstanding. And eventually, I had a college, Southwest State University, where my kids could be educated. For this, I say, thankfully, I got to Marshall. I now want to thank you all for being here to recognize me. I appreciate it very, very much. And now I'm going to sit down.